Here's Johnny. Thank you, Ed. Well, hello there, my social media family, being of any subscribers and our visitors alike, being a persons among yourselves who are affiliated or associated with and are representing my own YouTube social media channel and our likewise chat room and comment section. How are you all doing? Well, hopefully everyone is doing at least okay. If not, better yet to be said, all right. Or if not, best of all to be said and stated for the record, to be feeling blessed and stressed, more blessed than stressed, or too blessed to possibly become or be stressed. You and yours, your family and friends, and hopefully me and mine likewise as well, are all the same. But then I'm really not feeling all that good at the moment. You know, or in other words, not that Christian, as believing in the one true God, as we know him to be, for the few of us who could possibly literally and or actually lay claim in all reality and all truth of the word being the fact of the matter, as claiming to have become or be members of the household of faith and or the family of God, you know. And like say for one thing, this one particular proverbial neighbor from damn hell being the main one of a sociopath and a psychopath, being of a local vicinity area neighborhood community drug pusher, of a black male individual person of a character who resides as a tenant within the atmosphere of and for the premises of properties, being of an apartment place of residence, a couple of few doors down from my own upon the same floor level in the building here, for this facilities real estate given address location, and one of the worstest vicinity area neighborhood communities within city limits as we have it, where it might well be like one in the suburbs, where all those different gangbangers had been moved out there, you know, and now they cannot get back in the city unless they have a ride, you know. And whereas the crime rate is going up out there in the suburbs, but then are we doing any better in the city when it comes to certain neighborhoods like this one where I'm at now, for vicinity area community within city limits otherwise, Yeah. And as I'm now dealing with, as in being bothered with the harassment, intimidation, persecution, or bullying coming from worse neighbors from damn hell than the ones being of whom I have had to put up with in the past in a better neighborhood. And the only reason why I'm not there is being that because, another neighbor from damn hell had managed to flip the script out of resentment. He retaliated against my person for how I had went through all the proper policies and procedures or protocol to address the issue. And I'm sorry about the compulsive physical gestures of disorder. And hopefully I won't have to pay a visit to a local vicinity area neighborhood community hospital and then do follow up at a medical clinic affiliate associated with representing some as such. And hopefully this is not the result of developments of one of these neighbors from damn hell being in my present ones, or worse ones yet in this worse neighborhood, having somehow, you know, contemplated of an engineered scheme or scam to cause me even further problems. And as I suspect that they could be responsible for the developments resulting in my most recent general health issues. But getting back to what I was trying to say, is backtrack here with reason or purpose of being, or so I can go on with the following to continue for when my person at last left off, so I can finish up as a completed form pre prayer line thought. And whereas this other neighbor from down here, or the likes of his kind been the main one, for my present neighbor from down here, whereas the other neighbor from down here, the past ones in a better neighborhood compared to where I'm at. I say where I'm at now. Prince Peace continue regular. I'm not compared to how the Prince Doctor took confusion. And as this is a worse neighborhood, whereas he had managed to flip the script out of resentment or retaliating for how I went through all the proper policies and procedures and protocols to complain about him as and state my grievances regarding making reference to his daily and or nightly violations of his own apartment on lease and his total disregard or complete disrespect for my rights and privileges as his fellow neighbor. And somehow he had managed to convince the management elsewhere of administrative representative personnel to give me the walking papers that he should have received much rather than instead of me. And upon some such short notice, I'm having to move here where I'm at now just to keep from possibly becoming a rank and file of the likes of the derelict transients as in homeless. And now I'm being bothered with even worse neighbors from down here in this worse neighborhood. Ain't that a blip? I want to say ain't that a bitch, but I think I have done more than enough cussing and swearing or express myself with expletives of profanity or qualities and quantities enough as it is and the typed out words. Sorry about that, but I had, much earlier explained to you all and putting in more words or less, so I paraphrase and not quote exactly. I'm not feeling too good at the moment, or in other words, not too Christian. And especially with this one neighbor from down here being the main one of a local drug push, he just keep picking at me day and night like a little gnat. Whereas after his major power plays didn't pan out, so far as he himself threatening my life verbally, at least a few times already, most recently, and whereas I'm having to call the police upon him each and every time he himself had done that. And now this crazy MF, he just keep picking at me with after the major two-cent power plays didn't work out, he's coming at me with the minor ones, or after the maximum ones had failed, now he's going about, exercising as in using the minimum ones or perpetrating some such on a daily and on a nightly basis against me. Like say, for example, the slamming of doors. He's just repeatedly slamming doors. I'm like, what in the world? You a grown adult male person of a man. You need to chill out. I would expect that to come from a underage minor of a child or kid, but this is how vindictive or malicious this drug pushing, poop butt pissant, creepy, cowardly, faggoty, black male individual person of a character. The likes among my present worser neighbors from down hell in this worser neighborhood, this nigger neighborhood, this predominantly nigger neighborhood, being one of the less preferred neighborhoods, being one that is, more impoverished or more poverty stricken and more crime ridden. And at one time or another, he had attempted, after he had seen, noticed, or witnessed that I can play a mean game or a real life poker bluff myself, but with my chips being better than his, especially if I ain't jiving and conniving, scheming and scamming, if I ain't bluffing, but on a serious note of interest, because when he threatened my life verbally, I had to call that in. I had to call the police about that, to let him know. If you leaving your foul, funky business card with me, then I'm going to return the favor by dialing that emergency number 911 to alert the members of the local law enforcement community as in, call the police upon you, to simply say, you know, the fuzz, the boys in blue, the big boss man, so they could sweat you like you attempted to sweat me. And so from there, at one time, now he attempted to flip the script to make it seem like he's one of the good guys now than his usual bad boy self. Yeah, as a matter of fact, at one time, he showed up at the building at the same time I did, like I'm supposed to just forget that and, just shrug it off. He's attempting to force a social environment or relationship environment. That's like, you know, a, 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 a male sexual predator monster of a rapist or worse yet, pedophile who is in the females is attempting to establish, you know, a normal social environment or a normal social or a normal or a reasonable social environment or a reason a normal social environment or should I say, well, same thing. Like that's like a male sexual predator animal monster who's in the females, like I say, and I'll stay for record, attempting to establish a reasonable social environment or a normal sane relationship, you know, reasonable rational social environment or normal sane relationship with one's former female sexual assault victim or female rape victim. And you know that the average female sexual assault victim or average female rape victim would not want to have anything to do with her former male attacker of the likes, you know. So I'm like, what part of that don't you understand? You know, at one time or another, I'm like, say, you know, I'm coming into the building. He's like in the hallway, and I'm trying to get into my apartment. Then he's, you know, my apartment of place of residence, just few doors down from him. And he's speaking to me, and knowing that I don't want to say anything to him, I don't want to engage in conversation with him, of dialogue. I don't want to have anything to do with him, and he's attempting to force a conversation, a dialogue upon me in one regard and another, in more ways than one. You know, and like I'm constantly telling him, he's attempting to push my emotional buttons, attempting to anger me. I'm trying to get into my apartment, and like he's constantly like mouthing off to me, and you know, and he's going into his apartment like he's gonna come out with something, you know, for me, you know, and so forth. And I'm like, could you just leave it alone? You know, don't go away, man. Just go away. You know, I'm like, you know, if we can't learn how to agree together, then let's learn how to properly disagree. And you know, and he making like he gonna come up on me. I'm like saying, look here, man, could you get on, man? You know, we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way. But then I would much rather call the police on him again than resort to self defense. Because me and him almost had it out in the hallway in a physical kind of way. Then I walked off, and he walked off. You know, I'm like the nerve of him. I mean, really now. After all that he has put me through, you know, from following me into the business office or the administrator representing the real estate personnel, you know, and attempting to flip the script and make it seem like he's the victim, telling them I'm making him feel uncomfortable, to him him sitting on a stoop outside the building while I'm trying to come back to the building to call it a night, and attempting to prove himself to be threatened again, whereas I called the police on him that time for doing that. Then he's running down the sidewalk in my direction as I'm trying to catch a train for a train station, whereas I'm having to take a detour and catch a bus much rather than instead. So I called the police on him for doing that, whereas he did so with one hand in his pocket, you know, like he. So I don't like that, you know, quite naturally. Who would? There was something else I was about to say if I can remember. But anyway, this is what I'm putting up with still, you know, until I could save up enough money, not only for moving expenses, but to pay to the new or next landlord if I could possibly become so fortunate, or to use a better choice of word, blessed by the best, you know, to pay rent for an atmosphere of premises properties of a place of residence of apartment in a in much more familiar territory for a vicinity area neighborhood community, which is less poverty stricken, less crime rate, you know. I mean, I don't know what part of it that this character don't understand, you know. I don't want anything to do with him, you know. Could you just please leave me alone, you know? That one time another thing that he had supposedly claimed that either a mom or a grandma or aunt used to, you know, be the landlord for these premises properties. I'm like saying, why you say used to? What happened? You know, he didn't say anything about why it's that other case of situation. It could possibly be a problem then because she wanted to attempt to turn these premises properties of a facility into what is it, a crack lab, crack cocaine lab, or meth lab, and then karma caught up with her, and then she could have been arrested by the boys in blue, as in by the police or cop, and then hauled off to the can, as in you know JAIL. But somehow he himself has managed to you know stay up on the radar. That's funny though. When the police show up, he put on the I'm a good boy. I'm the kind of good guy that mom will that a woman want to take home to mama is what I mean to say. Take home to mom. Very minute they leave, he resorts back to his bad boy self. Ain't that a blip? Then there was a time he showed up at the building as I'm trying to come in. He didn't say anything. Like I'm supposed to just forget. Like everything's peachy now, and we supposed to status report. I said I ain't having it. You threaten my life verbally and then some. Just leave me alone. I don't feel that I'm at that level of Christianity. Because I'm not trying to let one monkey, like a monkey in a barrel, trying to pull the rest of the monkeys. I ain't trying to let one monkey attempt to stop the show. I'm trying to get up out of here. I'm trying to get to somewhere better. To much more familiar territory. There was something else I was about to say if I can remember. But then nevertheless, I think you all get the general idea of what I was trying to say. So, whereas tonight I was trying to tell this one police officer, this nigga SOB bastard, flunky, master white. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said it like that. But that's how I pissed I'm feeling. I'm trying to tell this cop who's sitting in his police squad car cruiser, by himself without a partner in this dangerous neighborhood, And for a minute there, he opened up his window and then he closed it just as quick, As I said, something along this line of thought, so I paraphrase it, not quote exactly. If something should happen to me during the course of the summer, if I don't get out of this neighborhood before then, I just want you to know that there's this one neighbor from down here, a local drug push. He's been hassling, harassing, intimidating, persecuting, bullying me for the longest. And you all would have, a paper trail on it. Anyway, this cop, this nigga, this black male cop, he just pulled up his window to his police squad car cruiser just that quick, I'm like, what the? How's you serving and protecting? I'm trying to tell you something important. And, well, I don't think a white cop would have did that, regardless of it being a bad neighborhood. If anything, you think would enforce, more police patrols. Because on one street elsewhere for another neighborhood similar to this one, whereas when some young Rudy Pooty black young bloods had mouthed off to me, was I'm trying to because they in the line trying to supposedly buy something with a credit card or debit card or with their phone, and I'm saying, excuse me, gentlemen, could I just get this right quick? And they mouthed off to me as the elders. So from there, I had called the police after they left to let them know what went down, just in case, something could happen to me. Talking about, man, you see, we got money. Man, we trying to, blah, 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 blah. No, you got is just, like, what the? Yeah. But then, on this last note of interest, I would like to say, if you haven't gotten Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, I would hope that you think to do so now while the blood is still running warm in your vein. I reckon I realized he himself had did on the cross of Calvary, on the hill of glory, suffering at the hands of Roman soldiers between two thieves as he was crucified, so that you don't have to go to damn hell with the rest of the unsaved, lost down human souls, unbelievers to be burning and to be terrorized and traumatized by the devil and demon forever, so that you can become a like-minded citizen of the kingdom of heaven in the presence of God and his angels, and you so be blessed down here upon the planet earth. You all take care. We out. Peace.